это за люди впереди тебя? Пару шагов вперед, теперь они позади. Я утонула в чужой ветровке, и это совсем не та остановка, и не тот человек, что смотрит мне в глаза, смотрит мне в глаза, но утонула я.
Любовь измеряется жертвой, не больше, не меньше, но нужно скрыть порезы, так будет всем легче. Стою один среди трущоб, я, кажется, пропал. Я хотел бы умереть только на твоих руках.
Обними мои руки, мне так больно в груди, потяни исповеди, но тогда не уйти, эта ночь прожигает меня изнутри, ходящие от меня, лучше сразу сотри. Обними мои руки, мне так больно в груди, потяни исповеди, но тогда не уйти, эта ночь прожигает меня изнутри, ходящие от меня, лучше сразу сотри. До часов утра невозможно, холодно, сторонюсь тебя, и разговоры недолгие, смотрю на звезды, не больше смысла, чем в твоем голосе таком бездушном. До часов утра невозможно, холодно, сторонюсь тебя, и разговоры недолгие, смотрю на звезды, в них больше смысла, чем в твоем голосе таком бездушном.
Hello, hello. Oh God, we're in the void. Hello. Hello, hello, Kalu Kalay. My name is Notepad and on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? We are going to be doing... Well, we're going to be doing some Busywork. Yeah, nothing too exciting. I'm going to pop some soda pop here. Yeah, soda pop. Delicious soda pop. I love soda pop. Yep, soda pop. They call me soda poppin', how much soda pop I'm drinking. That does hit the spot though. But yes, what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on things. Yeah, we're just going to kind of be working on some stuff. Stuff and things. I would really like to say there's going to be some more intricate, detailed work going on, but really it's just going to be me staring at 0 Hour Squadron, trying to figure out how to make it work, as well as kind of working a little bit on Sparkle Sorcery, the commission project after it. Because here's the thing with the 0 Hour Squadron, and I'm going to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart with people. 0 Hour Squadron is going to be a pain in my goddamn ass. And you may be wondering why, Notepad, why is 0 Hour Squadron going to be a pain in your goddamn ass? Very simply put, 0 Hour Squadron is a game about being in space, and space is complicated. Now, you may be wondering, why is space dogfighting complicated? Because space is a place of nightmares. Okay, so here's the problems that I need to consider. At the very end of the day, things I need to consider while writing this. 1. The Z-axis. Roughly speaking, we on the tabletop sphere worry about this. I am here. I want to be here. Do. Boom. Done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is the X. This is our Y and our X. This is really all we need to worry about. Y, X. All we really need to worry about. The Z-axis makes things a little bit more complicated. Because if we have the Z here, suddenly being here could mean a lot of different things. And let me see if I can find like a... Let me see if I can do a... Because suddenly, you've created a 3D space you need to worry about. You are in a 3D space of space, pretty much. And because you are in a 3D space of space, being right here is going to be a lot different than being right here, and how do I maneuver over there? That's the main issue. Now, originally in a basic plane game, as I have written a plane game before, the method of doing this is a little bit easy, which is to say, you are here, let's say, me, I am John fighter pilot, and I want to be over here. Now, what I would do is I position myself and move over there, and I would have like a 4 next to me. That 4 is my height. I go down there, I can raise to 5, stay at 4, drop to 3 or whatever. Easy enough. It's just a very arbitrary amount. Now, the problem is, this leads to another very fascinating issue. Another fairly fascinating issue, which is this. You're in fucking space. Because, here's the thing about the ground. If this is the ground, this is ground 0 you might even call it. This is the ground, and this is the sky. Being up here is good. Being down here means you're dead. You don't want to be on the ground. That, and you have a very clear understanding of, I am on the ground, I am not on the ground. Now, here's the problem with space. There's an issue with space. You want to know where the ground is in space? You're right, nowhere. Space isn't real. Well, it is real, but effectively, there's no ground, really. So if you are up here, for example, it's not your 5 down from, fucking space, the space ground. No, not quite. Where you are above or below, possibly to the side, but maybe not in recollection to this person. This is where space combat gets really persnickety and very confusing. You are dealing with something that really doesn't have a sense of gravity to it. So we need to understand that there is a position above someone else. But we also need to make sure we understand that every direction is a possible direction, because not only do you, well, generally speaking, you don't have to worry about physics, as, gravity isn't real in space, as we all know. It's not like, oh no, I've been hit, oh no, in my cool X-Wing or whatever, I've been hit, I'm going to fall to the ground and explode. This isn't going to happen. This does not occur in space. I've been shot, I go anywhere, really, because I am in space, and life is not that simple. That also kind of leads me to the other issue, which is this, fragility. Now, here's the thing about fighter planes. Like, let's just say a jet plane. You want to know how much it actually takes to bring down a jet fighter? Nothing. It is incredibly easy to bring down a jet fighter. It gets hit by a missile, that person is dead. The jet fighter is going down because it's been hit by a missile. Hey, you have been hit by you've been you're going down. Any kind of damage in these things is lethal damage, effectively. They even explain this for like TIE fighters and stuff if you watch old Star Wars clips or whatever. Getting shot immediately pretty much blows the person up. Some ships, bigger ships, cargo ships or something like that, can take a few shots, but any shot is kind of a dangerous one. But if you notice, let me do let me see if we can find an X-wing, like a like it's one of those things, like it's also incredibly very specific. So let's use this TIE fighter one, because this is a very nice video. This is a very cool video. It's the fact that, like, he tags him once, engines explode, he dies. It's literally like, I have some shields. That's the thing keeping X-Wings alive, is shields. Like, the only thing keeping TIE fighters alive is maneuverability. Those are the only things we're really actually working with. Missiles kill you instantly. And this is like the incredibly, like, specific thing with it. Like, any fleet engagement, it automatically is also now, like, again, you take one shot and bang, 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 everyone dies. I know this is supposed to be a dramatic show or whatever, but, like, even in a actual honest-to-God engagement, it's going to be incredibly fucking lethal, which is a problem. Because if, hey, I've invested a lot in my character, I've been popped once, and I die violently, isn't as fascinating as playing a character. So, yeah, we're kind of, ironically, this one has made it a very fascinating situation of just being very complicated. So, again, we can do, that's why I was thinking, like, maybe I should draw for, like, some inspiration. What inspiring source should I use? Because, generally speaking, I don't know. There's a lot of inspiration to work with here. A lot of things to think about, a lot of things to muse about, and there's no right answer. There's no correct way of doing this. It's just, One comment is an egg that throws lightning bolts attached to a tether or something like that. Yeah, effectively, it is. You get shot with things, and you explode, and bad things happen. The last thing you want to do is be on the ground. You hit the ground, you die. Yeah, if you are going full speed and go to the ground, you explode and everyone dies. It's not very pretty. No one wins. Pretty much, like, a pigeon can take you out pretty easily. What are we cooking today? Well, what are we cooking today? We're going to be cooking a little bit of whatever the fuck this is. 0 Hour Squadron, a space dogfighting game. About being dogfighting in space. Because it's really odd how there really isn't many space combat games. Like, games dedicated solely to that. Because if I do, like, space combat TTRPG. Space combat. What's a good spaceship combat system? What do people talk about? And it's like the Star Trek game. Oh, or just use a miniature game. Stars Without Numbered. You know, like, let's do Diaspora. I mean, there's got to be something. Diaspora. Self-contained SRD. I mean, it's a... I mean, we gotta have something, right? You aren't gonna... Let's see, yeah, it's just like World War II carriers and space submarines, but in space, realistic vehicles, Traveler space combat, and Traveler. Space combat and Traveler is extremely specific, but it's also an idea of you are actually in a single ship. I'm like, that's not quite what I want. It's dogfighting ships, because Traveler ships are actually pretty large. You know, if we do kind of the idea of, like, Traveler, what Traveler ships actually look like, these are actually fairly large ships that you can live in. You don't live in the X-Wing. That's the idea. You do not live in the X-Wing. And then you have the Elite Dangerous RPG, but the issue with the Elite Dangerous RPG space combat system is that it's 15 different other fucking games at once. So it's like, yeah. Travel rules for Synthside. The X-Wing miniatures. Yeah, it's like couple, like, let's see, 23... Ashen Stars, Babylon Project, Fragged Empire. Tactical Space Support. Yeah, but these are like ships, like big ships. I want fighter pilots. It's a very specific thing. What things in your schedule table are you sending slurs or SMT? I was thinking about whether the Spirit Pool of Homecoming could work for a pre-gear game. There are a lot of them, and they're all war games, exactly. Could Spirit Pool mechanic from Kamigakuri work in the pre-gear game? It would be a little weird, but nothing saying you can't use something like that. And all tactical. I mean, Fantasy's like Star Wars game, a little range band system, so it's a flat plane you're fighting on. Is attack vector tactical? Yeah, attack vector tactical. Let's do a look. Yeah, these are still pretty big ships. We got one or two ships per player. You might be flying a little bit on our own on this one. Yeah, I've a strange and beautiful feeling we're going to be flying a little solo on here. That's why I was thinking, like, if I can use an example of, like, what do I want to base this off of? Because, let's take a second and think. Oh yeah, did you ever decide to work on a heist game for Pocket Quest? I couldn't think of anything, really. Nothing really came to mind with a actual heist game that didn't feel kind of weird or wasn't like really gimmicky. Nothing really kind of panned out kind of thing. And I was working on other games and it's just like, I got nothing really. Heist was so specific, but so... I blanked entirely on Heist. I got nothing on it. If it was a little bit more specific, then like, all right, I could work on it. But if it was more specific, I could work with it. Like, this is a bank heist game. Like, it's specifically about bank heists. Fine, we could do a weird board game RPG thing. Fine, whatever. We can do Reservoir Dogs. If it was like a really specific, or it was like really broad, just like it's crime. It's a crime game. All right, crime. Everyone likes crime. Well, don't do crime, but crime. All right, that's fine. Or like, it's one of those things that like consistently. It is one of those consistent things I've noticed with Pocket Quest where they give like a really broad idea and like sometimes it just doesn't. It's so specific that you feel restricted, but so broad where you have no really like strong ideas with it. Because I think that would be the issue, is like everything would just boil down to another Blades in the Dark hack, and I don't know if that's a problem with us. I think Pocket Quest is finishing in like a week. Like, it's pretty much done. Midnight tonight, yeah. I got nothing. So here's the thing. Let's think about what we want. Let's just go and let's just have a think. What we want. What do we want? Well, we want fighter pilots in space. Easy enough to understand. We want fighter pilots in space. We want fight other fighter pilots in space. Alright, easy enough to understand. So, this is where things start getting a little bit complicated. Do we want... How do I want to word this properly? Do we want carriers? Do we want carriers? Or free rangers? I guess the best way to think about it would be like, oh hey, like there is our big space carrier doing space carrier things called, like, I don't know, the fucking Divine Liberty or whatever. Here's our giant space carrier that is bringing us, and we deploy from the space carrier to do space carrier things. Or we do the counterpoint, which is like we zoom into the system. We are space cops. In fact, we zoom into the system, zoom, and then it's, you know, disaster follows kind of thing. A little bit different. It's kind of the idea, like, do we have FTL or not? That's the thing. If we have FTL, we are a little bit more independent operating. If we do not have FTL, we need a carrier, and we have something to kind of go back on. However, that could be a good or a bad thing. Everyone likes a carrier, yeah. I don't even really have a setting for this, by the way. Again, that was one of those things where I kept kind of going back and forth of like where I want this inspiration to go. Because the main things that really hit me, that really kind of hit me in the, like, immediately, like, space combat. I want to think, you know, you're thinking space combat. First thing was Wing Commander. For those who don't know, Wing Commander was a series back in the day about Mark Hamill fighting cat people. The ethics of genocide. It is, you play as, you know, Captain Wing Commander as you blow up things and you fight Kilrathi. It is a fighter pilot game, but it's kind of very much more of a military one. Like, oh, we're fighting, like, there's a war, we are fighting that war. It's a 3D space combat simulator. That's kind of the idea. Very, very cheesy in its own right. That's kind of the idea. It's a very cheesy production, and very goofy in its own right, but that's kind of half the appeal. 2 was Battlestar Galactica. Now, Battlestar Galactica is a little bit interesting because let's open up YouTube. We all love Battlestar. Because in Battlestar Galactica, our space battles are a lot more hectic because we're fighting a much different war. It's a very different theme. Things are much more limited. Things are a lot more, we have to think things through a little bit more. There's one term that we would like to use is ragtag. And it's kind of the idea of, like, the carrier ships are a lot more important. You know, that's kind of like, it's a little bit more important than just a carrier ship. A military carrier ship is like, hey, this is kind of fighting the good fight there, and, you know, things are a lot more explosive, and you will die, most likely. Going out there in that spaceship is a fucking nightmare. you were most likely going to explode. But depends on how easy we want to retreat. The thing is, space fighter are capable of interplanetary travel. We just ignore how long the pilot would have to sit in that cockpit. Look at how easy for it to retreat. If you have a carrier, you need mechanics for big ships like the carrier and its escorts. You are the escort. Star Wars worlds do space dogfighting or more realistic space combat. Spaceships move a tad weird. Like, that's kind of one of those things. Like, I inherently only space stuff for pirated footage for it's kind of the idea of like Turkish Star Wars. The joke there for Turkish Star Wars, like it would be Star Wars but just be entirely fucking different. We would need to approach it from a very different angle. That was kind of the joke there. It's like haha hee hee hoo hoo. Let's see. Carrier's cool. Depends. Yeah. I get like the idea behind like needing a carrier. The advantage of the carrier is like you are fighting, and you can go back to the carrier. You kind of have home base. Everyone likes home base. The thing is with a carrier is that you have a carrier. You have your carrier. But a carrier is not alone. You're also going to have a couple other big ships there. You're going to have a couple of your other big ships fighting alongside you as you are you're pretty much the first wave. You are the vanguard. You are fighting. You're trying to do that to make sure your big ships can do their job. Your goal effectively here would be protect these ships as best you can and attack their ships. Getting rid of the carrier, though, is you don't have to worry about that. That's one of the advantages. You are able to ignore that premise. Like, when it comes to, I'm not aiming for realistic. That's one thing that I'm going to, like, double down on a little bit. This is not, I don't want to be like, I am not thinking, like, hard, like, oh, it's going to be hard sci-fi or whatever. No hard sci-fi. We want, I'm kind of aiming for a bit, I wouldn't say cheesy, like, but not, I would say cheesy, but not quite cheesy, but I'm not going to be like, well, actuality, Spacecom, yeah, it wouldn't work because you would all just shoot tungsten rods at one another from 900 million miles away. No, that's not entertaining. What's fun is where, effectively what I want to occur. Drama. Pulpy. I think, yeah, pulpy would be a good word for it. We want drama, bullshit, drama. Everyone's looking at each other muscularly or whatever. We warp into a combat zone or we warp into the mission or whatever, and we deploy. Cool montage of us getting our helmets on and stuff. We deploy, and it's just like, Fighter Wing, fucking Lion Squad 1. Yeah, let's go. Bang, bang, bang. And then you start doing space combat stuff. Yeah, I don't want, like, oh, well, why would you ever need fighters in space? Because fighters would be completely wasted because you would just want to fire a fucking tungsten rod at someone. Yeah, space fighters are inherently unrealistic. Yeah, exactly. They're inherently unrealistic. However, that's fucking lame. And we all want, yeah, space fighters are cool. We all want to be cool guys doing cool things, doing for cool reasons. We all want to be part of Rogue Squadron. That's the entertaining part, is being part of Rogue Squadron. And, having a rock and metal soundtrack as we fight Evil Empire with Dark Bad Evil Man. Oh no, oh no, oh no, we lost Porkins. No! Bang, bang, bang. Everyone protect the bombers. That's entertaining. It's kind of the logistics behind that. So that's why I'm like, like what else, like what other like space combat franchises would there be? Space combat franchise. I'm trying to think of like the top of my head and I am fucking blank. I guess like Elite Dangerous. Like, there's Elite Dangerous. We all love Elite. We all love the Elite series. I say the Elite series, but that's a little bit Thoros. Elite series games. Though this being our, I don't want like Space Traders. I would say like Elite is like more Traveler oriented. I'm okay with Traveler. That's kind of the thing. But like, I'm not looking for Traveler. Let's do Elite Dangerous. We're going to a Forsaken site. Let's go to TV tropes. Spaceship, space simulation games. Tell me not simulation game. I want space. Give me space. I like space. I'm trying to think of like, Eve. No, it was Eve, obviously. Everyone loves Eve Online. That has its own baggage, really. Kind of more independent, but you don't have to really worry about that. But then you have Mass Effect, which is not quite also the same. Strikecraft. Yeah, I get it with the fucking RTS though. Check Freelancer, yeah. Actually, no. Freelancer game or game, yeah. Freelancer would be a good one. The X series. Have no fear, I will be citing X4 here. I will be using the entirety of the X soundtrack because Lexi is a fucking amazing composer and knows how to make really good space music. I mean, yeah, I guess the X series could also work. Battletech has space fighters, yeah, but Battletech isn't really focused on space. That's kind of the issue. version of Trailer and did read most of them and did read all of them. Checked Freelancer. The RPG based on war games, fighter combat is often an afterthought. You can, yeah, you're playing the board game for like that BattleTech. I remember this space video called Evercron. Evercron Legacy. We could play it on Steam right now. Advanced Space Flight. We can buy it for Evercron right now, everyone. Because, like, I'm trying to think of, like, what would be a good way to base this off of when it comes to the logic behind it. Because Freelance, not like, yeah, Everspace. Oh, Everspace. Yeah, I think I have Everspace. Fucking Freelance. Fucking ancient. Freelancer back from before the colors of time. It's been 800 years ago since Freelancer came out. Forgotten Games Freelancer, Jesus. Poor Freelancer. Single seat spacecraft. Trading with merchant space station. Get a combat against other vessel. I guess that's the question. I guess that's a kind of a bigger question. Like, do we want there we go. So it's kind of like you're a single, everything is a single seat. Yeah, a lot of space combat systems and RPGs are, yeah, that's kind of the thing that I'm thinking about, because it's that's what I'm kind of thinking about here, is how do you design a game? How do you design a game with that as kind of the, like, first thing to think about? Like, it's nothing else matters. Spaceship combat. First fucking thing. First thing on the metaphorical whiteboard. What is it? Space. Ooh. Ugh. What are we thinking about? It is space combat. That is the first thing we're going to think about. First thing we're going to worry about. This is the 0 Hour Squadron. Both of these have their valid nature, and it's kind of the what I was thinking about it. I was seriously, like, debating this, mechanically speaking. One of the mechanically speaking, I was actually thinking about, like, using the crisis system. Using a variant of the crisis system for it, because the idea would be anything bad, because the big thing with crisis system is that anything terrible or awful or bad happens to you, it's your fucking fault, no one else's. Oh, my engine's on fire, it's because you did a crisis act. Oh no, I've been shot and I'm bleeding out, it's your fault. You have chosen to make a crisis act. Actually, we should say. And the thing is, crisis system is actually incredibly easy to understand. It's just a 2d6 system at the end of the day. And I was thinking we could do that. It would be very abstracted, though. That would be the one What differentiates this from a one-to-one space combat war game with some pilot stat mechanics? That's kind of the question of what you would want, what I want this to be. I really don't know. Fun fact, I proposed this literally with the idea being like, yeah, you're space pilots. You do space pilot things. Yeah, I can do this. And now I'm here and I'm like, what do I do here? what is the actual goal here? What am I actually attempting to do? And I'm kind of like in this weird state of like, I don't know. Because there's a lot of different ways to approach this. Because if we go with the crisis system, this is the idea of that we want to, it's effectively heavy abstraction. Oh no, I want to shoot my guns at you. Okay, I'm going to do 2d6 damage to you, or 2d6 damage or whatever like that. I'm hitting you, I'm dealing damage to you, and then I roll the dice and I deal 11 damage because I rolled a 5 and 6. Cool. Oh no, well, you've taken, integrity damage. You choose to make a crisis act, whatever, and everything is extremely abstracted. Everything is abstracted. Do I need to worry about the z-axis? No. Do I need to worry about momentum? No. None of this needs to be worried about if we do this, kind of that extreme abstraction. And the main thing would be emphasizing more of this, would be emphasizing more of the lore aspect. The core system is a vehicle. I guess the best way to think about it, would be the extreme abstraction would be the game would be a vehicle to tell stories in a system like this, and everything is just built around facilitating that. You do combat stuff because combat stuff is important, but that's not really the point of it. It's like, hey, we want to do cool things and blow people up in spaceships in between our battle, our fucking Battlestar Galactica fucking, adventures. There is drama where we get mad at each other and we are fighting and we're posing dramatically. We are having sex with one another. We are being fucking dumbasses. On the other hand, there is the combat situation where we are very likely to die. We die violently and it's very abstracted. It's very simple to understand. There is also what I would like to call the autism over heaven, scenario, which would be extreme particularity. It's kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum. The idea of the autism over heaven situation would be, we double down on the idea that you are in a single seats fighter. You are fighting there, and we build the entire game around that premise. Everything else is just kind of facilitating you toward a combat encounter in your spaceship. Because what do we want to do? We want to have spaceship battles. Hey, what do I want to... When I play X-Wing, what do I want to do in X-Wing? I want to be in an X-Wing and I want to blow people up. I want to be in a TIE fighter. I want to be in a fucking Viper. I want to be in a ship and say bang, bang, bang. Things explode and we all cheer because they have exploded and we have not. I'd say, but maybe something like Night Witches with actual combat system added. Good Kabarachi, like a BSG soap opera, maybe soap opera kind of game for that. Like Night Witches, I've been meaning to do a video on Night Witches because like the thing with Night Witches is that there's no real combat system on it, and it's that's kind of the issue, is that like again, this is space combat first, soap opera there. Apparently that VTuber girl Alice who's dying, Ligma, costs $100K for the whole project. Fuck me, that's a lot of money. $100K for the whole project. Yeah, no, sounds pretty reasonable. So she makes, If we do our estimate, so let's say she gets 100 streams and 100 streams, 1K a stream. 1K a stream and she breaks even. Unless there is something more behind it, if that makes sense. If there is something more behind the idea of it, like they're like merch, not even merch, but like merch, fucking, like there's a different avenues that she's talking about, sponsorship deals, obviously. I mean, 1K, 100, 1K a stream, everything included, pay everything back. That could work. It's not entirely unlikely. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of, a lot of money in. It's a gamble. I give it that. And again, my thinking is that that's it's going to be $100,000 super ad campaign. It's going to be 1 year of fucking ads for another person. And go hard on it. Yeah, it could work. Ooh. Assuming 2.5 streams a week, she'll be doing about 130 streams. I bring it down to 100 because life fucking happens. That would be my thing, is life happens. People get sick. People don't want to stream today. Missing 30 streams, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. So about yeah. Like, again, you do that and you say, oh, 2.5 streams a week is pretty hard. Like, that's still a lot of time, assuming they're decent sized streams, of course. That's kind of the question there. They're 2-hour streams. That's still 260 hours worth of content. 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour even. She's getting paid for it, I can almost guarantee you. Hundreds of thousands Kickstarter, you can write, pitch, and pander hard enough. Yeah, pretty much. Watching on average, yeah. You know how many people are watching on average the streams? We don't know yet. She has not debuted, Draco. She has not debuted yet. Who we're talking about is, by the way, for those curious of who we're actually talking about, not YouTube, I need to go to Twitter. Who we're talking about? Let me hit all these buttons here. There we go. Who we're talking about? If I go to me and I go to following. This is Nenkin Alice. Nenkin Alice has a very specific gimmick. And her very specific gimmick is 1 year from now, on March 30th, 2025, she's going to die. That's the thing. She has 1 year left to live on March 30th, 2025. She is going to die. She is not going to... Yeah, it says 100,000 here. Like, is that real? Who knows? Fucking... It's... Will she... This is already fucking... Holy shit. That is an expensive fucking rig, by the way. This is fucking horrifically expensive. Even with what I'm seeing there. That's her entire gimmick. 1 year, she will be dead. That'll be an interesting experience. My guess there. How do I want to word this, Favoka? My guess is going to be she is going to run the gimmick because that's why people are tuning in, is the gimmick. It's FOMO. It is the ultimate form of fucking FOMO. Now, it also kind of depends on who it is, because the talent herself, the person behind it, will reincarnate and they'll set her up and she'll make $8 gorillion somewhere. Whoever. She's gonna, get a stable income, everything will be fine. The interesting thing, though, that's not the point of this. The point is, how do we do this? You like here, Perky? Watch her streams. Watch her stream is fucking Pomo running out her NDA. That's what we were. Yeah, that's kind of the running thought is that it's a Niji girl running out an NDA. It's going to be curious. She's already verified the account. Everything they have set this shit up perfectly. We have decided. We have followed that it was almost entirely. Let me see. Where are you? There is one person that they are following. Where the fuck are you? There's one person who is like the main manager. The main manager person is very specific, and that's what they do, everyone. That is their entire gimmick, you could say, is that we're a big, that's what they do, that's how they do it. Looks like the Phase Connect girls are already going to be hopping on this shit pretty fucking fast. If it works, it works. But yeah, Tessa, right here. This is Tessa. Tessa's a VTuber manager. Tessa's a VTuber manager that has explicitly contact with a few different things, with vgen.co and a couple other things. They know their fucking thing. They damn well know they can't do it, but they can definitely. They are saying that the current running theory is that this person, this Tessa person, is the one bankrolling everything. Project manager, all the whole thing. That would be my guess. As you kind of see here, a VTuber consultation, pre-debut consultation, affiliate consultation, partnered consultation, management harvest strat consultation, data analyst. Yeah, like they know their fucking. How do I want to word this? They know what they're doing, and this is a very much a dedicated project for that, to promote themselves. Oh yeah, no, I mean, fuck, I'm following it. Though I guess technically this is a VTuber channel. Of course we're a VTuber channel, as you all know. My wiggle soda keeps us going. But I'm curious with it because it's such a. I was thinking. Here's the thing. I called this about a year ago. I said about a year or two ago. The entire idea is that we're going to see more gimmick VTubers, because here, let me bring up my marketing thing. Do I still have my marketing thing? Yeah, here we go. So here's my idea of the marketing thing. I wrote this up to talk to people on VT. The entire premise is that we've already gone through the early adopter series. The early adopters were our early cover girls. We're talking about like Sora. We're talking about early Nijis, your people there. Market appeal was 2020. Right during COVID, market appeal grows. This is where things skyrocketed. We are currently in market saturation into market plateau. There are fewer people slowly getting replaced into those who can adapt to the new market. That's the entire thing. Who are adapting, who are not adapting? I would say there, like, my thing there would be that there would be a fourth branch kind of like going through here, which would be new market. If I were to update this, I would say there's be a new market. The idea of the new market is that we are creating a completely different appeal to what's going on. Like, that is the entire goal, you could say. And the new market, what I suspected what the new market was going to be is going to be these one-shot gimmicks. They already exist. I mean, I think it's Thai Air? Not Thai Air. It's one of those East Asian air companies. Actually has a VTuber spokesperson who walks you through all the like safety instructions of how to how to fasten your seatbelt on the plane. that I was thinking that we were going to see a lot of those. It was like, here's a VTuber who just cooks. Everything she does is about cooking. This is a VTuber who is exclusively about this. This is a VTuber who is exclusively about this. Or here's a VTuber that we're leading up to a like a gimmick or something, like a product placement, effectively. That's how kind of we got the that's how you end up with these girls, actually. The Metabot VTubers. Yes, there is an entire Metabot VTubing thing going on. They are very funny, and they actually have some decent music. Yes, there's an entire like a Metabot VTuber thing, a Metatuber thing. And all they do, mind you, this is important. All these characters do is promote Metabot games. They promote Metabot games, they promote the Metabot Gotcha game, they do sing songs about Metabots, or things vaguely related to Metabots, or songs that are going to be included in future Metabot games. That's the entire gimmick. That's what I thought we were going to see more. We didn't really see too much of that. I'm not too surprised about it, though. This VTuber has vampire lollygo giant glasses, and can you attempt to hide his obviously male voice at all? What? That's wild. Never imagined Metabot VTubers would be a thing. Oh yeah, no, it's the Metabot VTubers. They're actually very funny. If you again, if you Google it, you can find Shushu Pop is the big one. They actually have music published. You can literally go on YouTube and listen to the Metabot pop band sing their songs, and it's like, all right, I'm in. I listen to them. They're good. And it works. That's the thing, because the big thing is you don't have to animate a mouth. You don't have to animate the mouth. You don't need like really sophisticated movements. Really interesting. Very fascinating stuff. Mascot characters are yeah, everyone, like, the thing is, mascot characters are fun. There's a reason, like Sanrio, I believe that's what it's called, Sanrio. There's a reason Sanrio does as well as they do, because that's all they do. They make mascot characters. The Hello Kitty people, they make mascot characters to sell to companies. I always respect them. Ah. Ah, Soda Pop, yes, mascot Tomir. Oh yeah, these little things. Yeah, there's a reason they exist. Big money. You can. This is good money. Marketing, advertising, and shit like that. It makes money. What was the one? Mostly because you can sell plushies and stuff. Also, I'm because when I first saw that, when I first saw what you typed in there. Juggalo V2, a girl with fox ears and clown face paint based. See, when I saw like, oh, Google mascot Tomir, I was like, Tom and Jerry. That, I don't know why I immediately went Tom and Jerry. Though I want everyone to understand this because I find this funny. Do you know there's a Tom and Jerry cartoon in Singapore? Do you know there's a full actual Tom and Jerry series in Singapore right now? Because Singapore fucking loves Tom and Jerry. It's a completely different thing, and it's just Tom and Jerry set in Singapore. And it's just one of those incredibly bizarre things that exists. And I want you all to know this now. I don't know why you saying Tamir immediately reminded me of this, but it did. But here we are. But yeah, no, this is just Tom and Jerry. They're just hanging out in actual Singapore. Like, that's what the entire premise of the series is they are just in Singapore. Like, it's just one of those bizarre facts of life. I just want everyone to know. A little bit off. Oh, it's talking toilet paper. That's even worse, but I love it. Love that shit. Who doesn't love Tom and Jerry? Literally, I actually read into it because I saw it randomly. I saw it when I was Googling on Singapore stuff because I was thinking about taking a trip to Singapore. I was looking at Singapore stuff and I saw Tom and Jerry. I was just like, oh, well, yeah, I don't. And I remember looking at it. I'm like, I don't remember this Tom and Jerry. Like, that's not what Tom and Jerry looked like. That's not correct. I looked into it, like, they literally have a full, apparently what happened was Singapore was so obsessed with fucking Tom and Jerry. Singapore Cartoon Network, literally like a Cartoon Network branch in Singapore, pitched a show just for Cartoon Network Asia. Those Tom and Jerry episodes are nowhere else except Asia. For them being this like, okay, why do you want to make a new Tom and Jerry thing? Because we love Tom and Jerry and we want to see more Tom and Jerry and we can do it. We'll set it in Singapore. That's why the Tom and Jerry things are set in Singapore. There's no explanation. There's no comments about it. It's just set in Singapore. I'm like, awesome. Fuck yeah. Well, I think the reason, like, why, like, anime fans in Japan and all the, all across Asia love SpongeBob SquarePants and Tom and Jerry and things like that is because that's foreign to them. It's like the extensive South Park fan base in Japan. It's foreign to them. We have like this, like, oh, well, it's a niche cult surrounding, like, oh, well, we love fucking, anime and all that shit. Because that's something that we are not exposed to constantly. Like, we don't get Pretty Cure every morning. That's not a thing that occurs. I'll use Pretty Cure because we talked about Pretty Cure earlier. We don't get Pretty Cure every Sunday morning. That's not like a constant thing. But kids here, kids in the States anyway, get SpongeBob every morning. And, they get cartoons in the morning and stuff like that. And that's why you have kind of this weird thing being like, oh, well, you're a Pre-Cure fan. We love Pretty Cure. We love all this. And then in Japan, they are like, yeah, fuck yeah, SpongeBob, because it's something they don't get as often. Same people think the Boondocks is it's like, it's the Boondocks. It's anime. I mean, it's animation. I mean, you see that quite a bit. But you see a lot of like those old school animators cite like Walt Disney, like classic Disney stuff as like huge inspirations just because they just enjoy it. I mean, like, yeah, I fucking wonder why. Like, oh goodness. Okay, let's think. Back to thinking. Back to productivity. What would be an ideal outcome? Okay, let's think. Let's take a moment and think. You, me, and the world. Let's do this. Let's just take a moment and debate among ourselves. This is what we do. We debate. We talk shop, as they say. Space, the final frontier. So if we want to have space fighters, single-seaters, that's the big idea here. This is single-seaters fighting it out, duking it across stars, bang, 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 oh no, so, you know, Porkins exploded. What are we actually looking for? Are male titty streamers common? Yes, they are exceedingly common, in fact. Because it's men don't advance. Always remember that. Men do not advance. Male VTubers are the most oppressed minority, similar to gamers. Space. Star Wars. Star Trek? No. Star Trek doesn't really have fighters, does it? It doesn't really have single fighters. Star Trek isn't really about that. It's more capitals. Okay. Let's get rid of Star Trek. No Star Trek. Star Wars, Wing Commander, Freelancer. I wouldn't be surprised if there's single seat ships, but that's not really the point. Big or big, yeah, it's... You go with Mech Warrior round, take a simple war game like X-Wing and add an RPG system. Fun fact, X-Wing does actually have an RPG system. Sort of. What is the one that they have? They have the X-Wing, What was it? It was X-Wing, wasn't the Bespin game. It was, products. I know it's not the game maps. They actually had a supplement for X-Wing that added like a weird RPG element to it. It was actually pretty interesting. I didn't look too deeply into it just because it wasn't my forte. It's not like strictly an RPG, but it definitely is part of the same... What was it? It was X-Wing Antilles? Not Antilles. Squadron. X-Wing Squadron game. I'm trying to... I can't remember the fucking name. I can't remember the actual fucking name of it. There was... Oh, yeah. Okay, guys, bear with me. What about? Let's see. I didn't try to fake it, but they're just doing it for clicks and people model while scrolling. The same publisher makes Star Wars RPG, but they didn't really... It's... Yeah, but we can make it work. Starfield, Kino. We can say it's a NASA game. There we call... God, X-Wing... What was the... There was one. What am I looking at? It wasn't... It was not a role-playing game. It was a supplement book. What am I fucking thinking of? X-Wing game supplement. It was a supplement game. Heroes of the Artillery Cluster. There we go. Heroes of the Artillery Cluster. There we go. This was one of those weird things, is that they made it like a co-op game where you had to like level up your pilots. Because you kind of see here, like, the entire idea is that you are building your own pilots. And you're doing, and this was one of the last things for X-Wing. And I remember this because it was kind of a weird idea and it was really interesting. I remember that distinct. Hero of the Artillery Cluster, that's it. Oh, it's fan made. I thought it was an official one. I think they did something vaguely official for it. Yeah, I am fascinated by Starfield. I'm fascinated by Starfield because it's a fascinating thing, and I've watched multiple like hours long video on that game. I'm sorry, I saw fan made something. Yeah, it's a hero. Let me do Heroes of the Artillery Cluster. Yeah, I think it's an unofficial campaign. It's an unofficial campaign. That's why I was like, it's that. But I remember this. This was one of the things. It was Heroes of the Artillery Cluster for X-Wing First Edition. This is why I say there's kind of like an RPG. There kind of is one, but there also kind of isn't. This is what I kind of mean by that. It wasn't official. I thought it was official. But this is kind of the idea. It's an interesting idea. I'm kind of fascinated by. I'm fascinated on it by like a technical premise. So for their actual RPG is clumsy and bad though. Yeah, don't worry, because like again, I think a lot of games have problems with these 4 things. This is the ultimate problem child. No matter what you do, no matter what you think, no matter where we go, these 4 issues will always haunt space combat. Anything related to the Z-axis fucks everyone up. It's impossible to fucking deal with, especially when there is no ground. You don't have the ground, you don't have relative distances. Hey, that guy is 3 spaces from the ground. I'm 5 sections from the ground. That's different. You can use the ground as just a Z-axis, and it becomes a lot easier to understand. It helps to understand that you go down and what the ground looks like, and the fact that you're flying above the ground, but you might die. And even though the fact of like momentum, do you realize that if you continue going in space, you won't stop? I know, it's a weird concept. Going forward in space means you keep going forward in space. That's a bitch to understand in any space, in any piloting thing. It's a horrible, horrible thing to understand. The idea that you keep moving. And then, of course, you have fragility, just like how fragile fucking ships can be. Like, any time you look at anywhere, like, fucking sky combat is boring. Everyone wants to be a fighter pilot, but being a fighter pilot fucking sucks. You get shot once and you explode and die. Most low complexity games just ignore this. Yeah, it's amazing how much more complicated things get just adding that Z-axis. It's so bizarre. It's really interesting though to kind of think about. That's why it's kind of one of the reasons why I want to think about it. Dare we make the NASA punk role-playing game? Can we do the NASA punk experience? I always knew I could be Starfield. Can we become John Starfield? Am I NASA punk? Are you NASA punk? I am late. What have I missed? You have missed me drinking on an empty stomach and me trying to figure out space, the final frontier. We haven't really gotten too far. We did talk about VTubers though for a bit, but that's par for the fucking course here. Let's be honest with ourselves. You should consume tacos. I have a quiche. Thank you very much. I am getting my quiche set up. And my quiche is going to be very good. And I'm feeling very, very enthusiastic about my quiche. Oh man, all that soda pop I'm drinking really is. Ah, fuck. Oh, that went down the wrong tube. Ugh. Ah, my soda pop. Because remember, I'm a child-safe stream. Oh yeah, no, it's... The thing is that we have to make a... The idea is adding in any of these. You can kind of, like, assume, like, if we are looking at, like, the complexity bar here, we can kind of think that adding any of these increases it by minimum 25%. That's kind of the idea, is anytime we add any of these 4 ideas in any serious capacity, we are adding 25% more complications, unless we do something with them. That's why I am, like, currently divided between really abstracting it with a completely, like, kind of different system, or we make the or we say fuck it, we ball and just make a complete autism project, not even functional. Searches Marin. Searches mating press live on stream. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. That way lies madness. I know. That way lies complete insanity. On the other hand, it will be the only one. It would be the only one to do it. Because there are no other games that think about that. Notepad, why are you searching mating press? Well, here's the answer. I got rated by 100 people, and they were saying Yorelli mating press, Yorelli mating press. So I thought, hey, Yorelli mating press. Well, this has to be a meme or something, right? I know what mating press is. Come on, I'm not 12. I know what this is, but this has got to be like a Warframe meme or something, and I'm gonna Google it, and it's gonna be something silly. No, I just Googled it, and it was like, oh, that's just... You just want to fuck Warframes. Then I made the screen go black, and just talked about what I was watching. I saw things I'm not too proud of on that exit. You Googled an unknown phrase with the word mating in it live on stream. I legitimately thought it was going to be like a fucking, like, meme or something. Unironically, I'm like, oh, I'm going to hit this and it's just going to be a bunch of silly memes. I was wrong. I had made a mistake. The joke is poor, effectively, yes. I learned a lot about myself that day. I wasn't quite prepared for that. I even posted about it on VT that I was very scared of that many people. Spartan, don't do this to me. Please, I beg of thee. I was very afraid for a moment. You introduced horror to me, and that horror is something that I have to live with now. Ugh. Of course. The world must know about Maesta. The world must always know about Maesta, because Maesta is a fascinating RPG that people need to know about. And the more people I get talking about Maesta, the better, in my opinion. Because it's one of those things that I love about tabletop role-playing games, that you can take interesting concepts and really make it do something odd. Hence why I'm trying to make a game about space fighting, and that's a little bit complicated. I mean, effectively, do we invite madness? Do we try to do something like pretty abstract? And where do we compromise? I think we can compromise on momentum. That's the big thing. I think we can compromise on momentum. This is one I don't want to compromise on. This I'm a little bit iffy on. This I'm a little iffy on. Like that's kind of the idea, is like, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? How do we draw the line? And why are we drawing that line? This is single seaters. These are all single seaters. Effectively, the best way to think about this is everyone is an X-Wing. That is the best way to think about it. Everyone is an X-Wings or TIE fighters or your own variety of a single seat fighter. This is at its core, this is a space dogfighting TRPG. It is also inexplicably horny, because I learned from Change Stars that making it something inexplicably horny is the way to go. Because nothing else matters. Nothing matters. Nah, nothing even matters. It doesn't even pop up. Oh no. Change stars. Not change stars. Change stars. There we go. Yeah, like, if I make the game inexplicably horny, also there's not been 30 sales on this. There's not been 50 sales on this yet. It's just like, if we make this inexplicably horny, fine, awesome, we're gaming. We can make this work. For fuck's sake, you literally, like, I could make this work. Like, that's the idea. That's the premise. That's the thought process going through this. Oh god, this soda pop is really good. I love drinking soda pop. I do not have a problem, by the way. I have an addiction. That's why I'm like, the thing is, if I get it like a basic premise of the idea, like the actual like premise, then I can build the core system, then everything kind of slots into place. but it's kind of like, where do you start with? Like, I need to get this, or this set up. And once I get one of these three things, everything else can kind of start slotting into place a little. But yes, this is a game about single seat fighters. Let's say an abstract battle has something like elevation dial on the plane with distances of the enemy and ally ships. Oh god. I need a burp. I could feel it in my gut. This is the worst feeling in the world. Like, how do I want to... Single ship fighters, like, if it was like a single ship fighter, like everyone is in a single ship, then that would be fairly simple to understand. Like, that is a... We would effectively be making FTL. We'd be making FTL the role-playing game. And FTL, the role-playing game, is an incredibly valid game, by the way. And this is actually a game that could be interesting. The basic premise of all of you are aboard a spaceship, you all have very specific goals and very specific problems, and that's the beautiful disaster piece kind of thing. That's the beautiful problem. Go get him, Chief. All right, cool. Like, that is an interesting idea, because FTL, for those who don't know, is an incredibly kinetic game. Every single thing about FTL is very, I don't think meaty is the correct word for it, but everything about FTL is incredibly detailed. All of these races have a very specific purpose. Humans get skills faster. The Mantis are really good melee fighters, and they can fucking kill people really quickly. The Zoltan, let me see, it's the Zoltan are able to power systems without anything there. Slugs are resistant to mind control and can mind control very efficiently. The NGs fix things a lot faster. Rockmen are super tough. Fucking can't remember the other two. Lanius can exist without oxygen. And things like that. It's little things like that you sit down and you think about, and you like, oh, it's an incredibly kinetic game. I get it. That's the entire point of it. FTL, the inexplicably horny role-playing game, sounds fun. Exactly, but that's not quite the game that we're making. That is not quite the game that we are making. We are making a space dogfighting game, though. With that idea in mind, let me see the, you know what we can do, of course. We can, of course, add that to the list. Let me see, actually, there we go. Faster Than Lube, the Gotchi Muchi science fiction role-playing game. There we go. Finally, my Gotchi RPG. The game in the same setting, following the FTL concept. Yeah, effectively, the entire premise of this is that you are explicitly dogfighting. You are in space, you are dogfighting, you are in a single-seat fighter. Because that is a fascinating premise. Now, an idea. See, this is the problem with drinking while on an empty stomach, is that you start getting fucked up really fast. See, I'm feeling great right now. This is the problem. See, again, I swear that I am not an alcoholic. I swear that I am just a fucking fuck up. I mean, I'm drinking soda pop. Very different. There we go. Yeah, I can't drink anymore if I drink the entire can really fast. So, let's think. You are a squadron. You are 0 hour squadron. You are a squadron of... Oh, that's not good. That's a good sound. Okay, so. I feel like I'm missing something. You ever realize that? Like when you, like, there's something you're clearly missing, but you don't know what it is. Well, now's the time for suggestions if you have any. Like, it's one of those things where you can see what you want. You can see what you're doing. You can understand the nuances, the problems, the situation. You can't get the exact thing with it. You get me? You can't see the actual 1, 2, 3. That's the part that's bothering. Can't find the 1, 2, 3. It feels like there should be an idea. There should be a pretty simple premise here. But then you think about it some more, and then you realize that that's like, there's so many different options that I'm currently in a situation where there's no good option. And if I make a call at one line, it's like, okay, I'm kind of stuck in that line, and I'm like, is that going to be the right one? Is that going to be the wrong one? Is that kind of the debatable one? What am I looking at? What am I thinking? You ever want to influence a game developer? Now is the time. Space. And again, even down to things, it's like, do we want freelancer or do we want carrier? You don't think the idea of free war, Verno war, kind of changes the dynamic quite a bit. Hell, I don't even know. I don't have pilot mechanics yet. That's going to influence things quite a bit. Alright, you know what? I'm going to think about this. I'm going to take some time to mull it over. If you have any suggestions, as always, feel free to post it in the server. Make sure to @ me on it if you have any amazing, cool ideas. Oh goodness, we're getting more people. Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun, so what are we doing today? Let's think. What am I seeing? Wonderful world of what the fuck am I seeing when it comes to tabletop role-playing games and what I want for this fancy space game. Space combat and space opera melodrama may just need to be different systems. Yeah, I know they may like, but it's like, where do you compromise? Where do you think? Hello, Mr. Fun. How are you? What am I thinking of? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call it here. Thank you all for watching. Lovely as always. I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to think about this tomorrow. I'm going to sit down and I am going to think. And thinking is hard. Thinking makes my brain hurt, because I am a small, smooth-brained individual. How do you do a system that is all about space combat and not just make it a war game? Yeah, you see the issue. It's kind of making sure that both merge together. That would be the goal. How do you merge two of these things together and make it work? And that's where things get a little bit complicated, and I need to think about that, and I need to wonder about it, because I think there's a right answer. What that right answer is, I don't know yet. But that's half the fun, right? Right. So I'm going to call it there. Thank you all for watching. Godspeed, good luck. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you all at another time.